Good morning. Let me just adjust the camera a tiny bit. There we go. Good morning. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. I'm just going to do a little bit of sharing and wait for a couple of people to come on, and then we're going to be on our journey to courageously converse and talk about being allergic to healthy relationships. It's something I've really I've wanted to talk about this for a bit, and I think the word allergic to healthy relationships is a powerful concept. But I just want to do a little bit of sharing, and if you could share as well on your pages or on your groups, because I think this is really important information for people. So I'm going to do that. And hi everybody who's showing up. Hi Shireen. Hi Andrew. Hi everyone who's here. Hi Tim. And beautiful Shireen. And I'm just sharing on my page and on my group, Courageous Conversations, which is a closed support group, which I'd love you to join because it is a place to be real. It is a place to experience your truth and to feel supported while doing that. And this is the kind of thing that I like people to know about right off the bat here. So I'm just doing a tiny bit of sharing, and then I will get on the journey of talking about being allergic to healthy relationships. I was having coffee with a friend who we were discussing that, and the words allergic to healthy relationships, I was like, I got to write that down. Thank you so much. And so I'm just doing a tiny bit of a share, going to different places, Find Yourself Culture, my page, Victoria Lorien Fabish, Courageous Conversations, another page, Courageous Conversations. And you can, hi Fernanda, nice to see you. And hi Michael, nice to see you. And I'm glad you're watching. This is exciting that people are interested in this conversation. Because, what I want to say, and I'm just going to start in just a moment. What I want to say is that sometimes, well, let's be really real. Let's be real. Oftentimes, most times, people come from families and they just normalize unhealthiness. They don't even know that it's unhealthy. They have no clue. So an example would be, I would have someone come in my office who would say, we don't fight, or he's not jealous enough, or, she agrees with me and is peaceful. And I'm like, okay, and so what's that like? Well, it's boring. It's not exciting. It causes me anxiety. It worries me. I feel like when is the other shoe going to drop, as examples. Or constantly experiencing very high highs, and those highs become extremely exciting. And those highs incorporate fighting, but not just fighting, but fighting dirty. Not healthy fighting dirty. That type of fighting that is leaving everyone exhausted and destroyed and so confused and self-doubt. And hi Jane, nice to see you. The experience of and then criticism as a normal thing, or judgment as a normal thing, or it could be all happening at once. Stonewalling as a normal experience, meaning blocking someone out, not speaking to them as a way of punishing them. That becomes very normal, and then they do it. It's like not even announcing I'm not going to speak with you, but just like I'm going to treat you like you don't exist, like you're invisible. Why? They were treated like they were invisible as children. Or saying words like, you better behave like this, or I will leave you. So this kind of blackmailing behavior. And let me be clear that if in a healthy situation, if someone is saying, behave like you respect me or I will leave you, that's a different story, because you're telling people what you're going to tolerate in the relationship. But I'm talking about using emotional blackmail. either do this that I want you to do, or I will leave you, or or behaviors that are passive aggressive. Examples of so it's like all of these things become normalized. For example, case study, not asking for a fair share in the financials, and then feeling afraid to do so because the person has indicated tremendous irritability upon bringing up any kind of equalization, and then the person decides, okay, well, I'll just tolerate that. I don't want to lose them. I don't want to be alone. There's such a fear of abandonment. That's such a massive driving force that becomes normalized. There is this normalization of unhealthy dynamics and a tolerating of the unhealthy dynamics. And then when the healthy dynamics come in, I've noticed a lot of people reject that relationship because it's so unfamiliar, so not normal, so boring, so scary. So, they look for the drama. They want to manufacture the drama. And not only the drama, but the fights and the jealousy and the glorification of instability. The glorification, and not consciously, by the way. That's the wild thing about it. It's all going on very much at the unconscious realm. And let me just say, the thing about the unconscious realm, that realm is the one that really runs the show. And that's why therapy and journaling and meditation and introspection and reading and exposing yourself to different material is what's going to jog your, oh, wait a minute, that was just my family. Not everybody's like that. I've had people come in and just say, well, this is just the way this is just the way we do it. This is just the way it goes. And using, for example, techniques that are subconscious to constantly keep people away from the intimacy. So comedy and quipping and not allowing other people to be close. Yes, Andrew, the pain body realm, not allowing, but then coming in and feeling extremely lonely. So they're doing all these subconscious things to keep people away. Too much comedy, too much walls, not being vulnerable. But then the work that they want to do in the office is, or the complaints, not the work, the complaints that they make is how people aren't good enough and people don't treat them well, and how others are not wanting intimacy, and but yet they're not even remotely aware they've normalized their own walls of protection. Another sort of allergic reaction to intimacy. As soon as the person comes close, they start to sabotage. They start to sabotage the relationship. And then the sabotaging starts to look like blaming and jealousy and instability, like all these sabotaging behaviors where the relationship just implodes. So the thing about the subconscious is that it's going to simply attract you over and over and over the same thing if you don't work on that piece. And not only work on it, it's not about working on it, it's about becoming aware of what your driving energies and forces are. Meaning, become aware of what you are, what patterns you keep activating. And you're just used to it, and you're normalizing it. And you think, oh yeah, that's just the way it is. This is just the way people do relationships. But when I hear people are so locked into, for example, the thing that gets me up in the morning, and I know people have heard me say this, is the healing of multi-generational dysfunction. So when people come into my office and they're parents, and I'm hearing them do the exact same thing to their kids that was done to them, I gotta point it out, and it's a hard thing to hear. And it's happened to me a lot this past, I don't know, I've just seemed to have case after case after case of people with children, and I'm like, okay, the conversation is about what's going on with the kids, But yet we've done all these processing pieces about what's gone on with their parents. And I'm like, okay, do you realize that you're doing this now? What? I'm not, my kid's not behaving. No, well, listen, but shaming, let's just talk to you about what shaming looks like. You were shamed, and this is what it felt like. But I'm not talking, no, but you kind of are. Let me translate what your version of shaming is kind of a repetition of the shaming you experienced. But there's such a normalization of shaming. Shaming and shaming words can become so, that's how you discipline a child. I'm just protecting my child, is what I hear. Or or in the relationship realm, I'm just, expressing my feelings of insecurity, and well, hang on, but it's not their responsibility to make you feel good. You got to work on making you feel good. Well, but shouldn't he or she behave in this way to make me feel good? No, actually, and then a fight ensues because there's this, you didn't do this to make me feel good. You didn't do this to make me feel good. Shouldn't I feel good by my boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife? Shouldn't they make me feel good? Well, actually, no. Nobody should try and make other people feel good. It's a positive side effect of healthy interactions. That's all. We make ourselves feel good. We do the work on ourselves. If people feel good in our realm, it's because we've got some really good interaction habits. And so nobody's feeling judged and nobody's feeling shamed. And yeah, Andrew, codependency. Exactly. This is the thing. And so there's possibly the mother or the father was training the person to guilt them. I was watching a documentary on child abuse and the grooming behavior, but it's not just the sexual child abuse that grooming behavior happens. Grooming happens in all emotional abuse situations. And sometimes it doesn't even look like abuse. It just looks like grooming and training people to accept, to normalize barraging, shaming, putting down, criticisms, causing the person to self-doubt, so a child is like a little plasticine brain that is taking in everything. So if the parents are constantly going and instilling this doubt in them to go, for the kid to go, well, what's wrong with me if my own parents can't like me or love me or see me in a positive regard, then the children start to, and I'm not talking about chastising a child for misbehaving, I'm talking about just not showing positive encouragement and acknowledgement of good things, noticing when they're doing good things. They're just going to think they always do bad things. So there's this normalization of I must be bad. And not only I must be bad, but I don't deserve comfort when I'm hurting. And not only I don't deserve comfort when I'm hurting, but I should be ashamed of myself when the very people who are supposed to love me can't love me when I'm in pain. This is what's going to cause you've normalized that from very little, and that's the multi-generational passing this on. And then when you become an adult, if you haven't done work on yourself, if you haven't exposed yourself to different literature, videos, information, books, if you've just seen the same thing over and over, you're basically going to be, well, this is just the way we do it. This is how the Smiths do it, our family culture. This is how the Jones do it. This is how the whomever does it. And then it becomes, what's wrong? You're the weird one that doesn't live this way. And it's like, ugh. You want to be vulnerable, and you want to be intimate, and you want to be, you don't want to be jealous constantly. Oh, you must be wrong. I'm having an allergic reaction to you. I need to get away from this. I need to get to where it's more normal for me. And people feel this discomfort around different, around healthy. I can't tell you how many people I've said, don't break up with them yet. Don't break up with them yet. Just hang in and let's see, because I'm not seeing a lot of patterns of dysfunction. I'm seeing you being allergic or you just really rejecting intimacy, vulnerability. But he's so needy. Well, wait a minute. Is it needy, or does he want to be expressing of his needs in a real way to you? But the family culture is taught expressing of real needs is selfish and wrong. So there becomes like an allergic, rejecting reaction to people who healthily ask for what they need. And then the person who's receiving that ask is feeling, well, they are making me feel guilty when they ask for what they need. Wait a minute. That's what your family culture taught you. That you're not allowed to say no. You're allowed to say no. You're absolutely allowed to say no. People aren't making you feel guilty when they're asking you for what they need, but you got to be okay with a no. And you got to also be okay to not feel badly if you say no. You want to not be allergic. You want to not be allergic to healthy, and you want to be able to recognize what you learned as unhealthy, and you want to be able to try and ingest and metabolize healthy. Does that make sense? I'm hope sometimes these concepts are so nuanced that it's hard to really express them so people really get it at a deep level. And that's what I want people to really, really, really get. That there are other, whatever you came up in, I just want you to be awake, aware, conscious, and introspective. And that is all called troubleshooting. Looking at what you came from. And don't just accept it. Obviously, take in the good things that from the family culture. Whatever was positive, you do that. But work with someone to disentangle the positive from the negative, the healthy from the unhealthy. And because you don't want to pass that crap on to your kids, just because, and I'm catching people all the time. I'm just catching people all the time. Putting the same stuff onto their kids that they experience. And they got a therapist like, we disconnected for just a moment, but we're back. Okay, good. So, they've come up in the therapy office, they're working on themselves, and it's still new, and then they start to have children, and then or they've come to me, with very small kids, and then we're working on them, and then I'm hearing some of the chastising of the children, and I'm hearing, okay, wait a minute, I'm hearing that got done in a very shamey way. Are you aware of that? It's tough. It's tough to tell people that because people get very defensive about their parenting. And I don't recommend Joe Q Public tell people about their parenting. It's not a good idea. But in a therapist's office, there's more license. There's more there's more permission to do calling on people on stuff. But Joe Q Public just out there, I'm telling you about your parent. Don't do that. That's gonna land you in people being really angry at you. So don't. But in a therapist office, you can do that. So I hope that, and Andrew says programmed self-culture versus, I think you mean, I see, programmed self-culture versus actual self-culture. I get that, totally. Yeah, and I think that what we're also saying is that please decode your family culture. Look at what the family culture was and is. And are you, from that family culture, feeling a sense of almost panic when you see something and experience something different? And that is what this video is about. So I hope I was clear, and I just want you to know that the way out of feeling allergic to that kind of healthiness is simply begin to sit in your discomfort. Don't break up with them yet. I mean, obviously, if they're really unhealthy, then you break up with them. But if you're like, breaking up with them because they're boring or they are too vulnerable or because they want to talk about their problems, or hold it. Don't break up yet, or because you feel like they're asking you for what they need and you feel guilty, that's not a reason to break up with someone. You got to cope with your own guilt issues about saying no and feel like you have the permission to. That's just one example. But the other thing is, are you drama seeking? Fighting is normal. Jealousy is normal. All of that. Be very conscious of that, and work with someone to begin to disentangle your anxiety about it. About you going, I got to break up with the person that you're perceiving as boring, and I'm going to go seek out the bad girl, the bad boy. I see this so often. Well, there's so much chemistry, Victoria. You can't manufacture chemistry, But there's all these terrible patterns. Oh, but there's so much chemistry. Listen to me. Listen to me. You can have chemistry with someone that's healthy. It's possible. But hey, some people got to go a few rounds with the dysfunction before they wake up. And sadly, sometimes we get battered and bruised with that. But some people got to really feel the dysfunction. The pain has to really hit for them to wake up. And I'm hoping to be able to bypass some of that, but maybe you can't. Maybe you just got to, maybe you really got to learn. People just got to learn and get in a therapist's office to help process it, to shorten the pain body and the pain cycles. Okay? All right. Courageous conversations. These are not easy conversations. So, couple of things. Share this video if you can. Once it's up, I'm going to repost it. I think people need to hear it. Join my group. It's a closed group called Courageous Conversations. We talk about some courageous things, and people sort of let it all hang out periodically and get supported. Like my page, Victoria Lorien Fabish Courageous Conversations. My other page, Courageous Conversations. And be courageous with yourself and others. And understand that you don't have to be allergic to healthiness. Just because you have a reaction to healthiness doesn't mean you reject it. Let that healthiness be there. Let that positivity, you deserve to have positivity, healthiness, and allow intimacy, vulnerability, boundary setting, saying no, letting people be who they are, not shaming people, be part of your life. It's delicious. It's sexy. It's good. Okay? Have a blessed day. Keep having good conversations with yourself and others. Bye. I'll be back next week with another live, amazing, juicy topic. Let me know some of the topics you want to hear. Bye for now.